So I've said on this show many times before that the easiest way to get into a relationship is to wait until the woman comes to you and starts asking questions or saying comments that indicate that she's ready to have the relationship conversation. And so today, I want to read a Reddit post that I found that gives proof of what happens more often than not when you as the guy are trying to ask her for commitment. More often than not, it's going to be too soon because we feel things very quickly. We make decisions about the women we want to date very quickly. And after 2 or 3 weeks of dating, we want to ask them out to be the girlfriend. And unfortunately, that typically falls flat on its face. And so I'm going to go through this guy's message and stop at points to show you guys what he did wrong and why I'm right. So here we go. This guy says, I met this girl in early August, and I knew pretty early on that I wanted something more with this girl. I asked her after a few weeks of dating to be exclusive. So I'm guessing like 2, maybe 3 weeks tops, right? He says in her culture, exclusivity meant being in a relationship and she needed some time to agree to that. Well, that makes sense. This is why I did a video early on about how exclusive dating is not a thing. Like you become exclusive with the woman when you guys are getting into a relationship. And most women are gonna read it as such. In fact, the majority of the time when people are talking about exclusive dating, it's usually guys trying to say to women, well, we're not in a relationship yet, but I wanna already act like I'm locking you down, so exclusive dating. They're trying to do this in-between thing, and it's not a thing. When you're asking for exclusivity, you're asking to be in a relationship, which is a no-no because you want the girl coming to you asking for that exclusivity so it can work better in your favor. But let's continue. So he says, but after 2 more weeks, she told me she read up on the Western culture meaning of exclusivity, and she said she wanted it with me, but wasn't ready for a committed relationship as she wanted to be sure about things as she's already in her mid-30s. We agreed to go slow at that point. Well, the reality is you should have been going slow the entire time. But what does she say right here? She says right here what I've been telling you guys forever, which is that she wasn't ready for a committed relationship. She wanted to be sure about things. And it takes a woman, on average, 2 to 3 months of being able to date you, go out with you, have interactions with you, establish trust with you, have some good hookups with you before she feels that thing of like, oh, I want to be in a relationship. And so women are looking for also to see how consistent you are in being the person that you're presenting yourself as. That takes more than 2 or 3 weeks. So when she says she wants to be sure, she's telling this guy, hey, I could see myself potentially having a future with you, but I need more time to solidify that. When women are telling you this, for one, it means that you're coming on too strong and that you're already presenting ideas about being, completely committed to each other. That shouldn't be what you're doing. And secondly, she's telling you that she needs time. So this is why I tell you guys, if you just stick to the 2 to 3 month timetable, and just show up consistently without bringing up a relationship, she'll bring it up. And that's important too, is that every time you bring up trying to be in a relationship, it's gonna push her back longer on that timeline because every time you bring it up, it's going to feel like you're forcing her to make that decision. If she's not ready for that, she's gonna now need more and more time to get to that way to where it can be her decision versus you forcing it. Anyway, so he says, 2 months in, we have another talk. What this means to me is that he brought up the talk. Hey, it's been 2 months, so let's talk about being in a relationship again. Do not do this. He says things have regressed a little bit. She makes an effort to talk every day. I've met a couple of her friends of hers, but she hasn't met friends of mine despite me inviting her to things, although I don't blame her as the things I invited her to are large social gatherings that will be quite overwhelming. And this is why I tell you guys that during the first 2 to 3 months of dating, while you're getting to know her and trying to help her solidify her feelings, you don't bring distractions into that. I'm guessing the way he met her friends that he was like, hey, I want to meet some of your friends, blah, blah, blah. And that should be more of a natural thing. Like, oh, I just happen to be going to this thing. Hey, you want to come along? My friends are going to be there. But in terms of what you're doing as the guy, you should not be suggesting at all that she meet any friends or family. She does not get to meet friends until at least 3 months after you guys have been dating for 3 months and you guys are in a relationship. Then you can start bringing friends around. And then in terms of family, that should be like 6 months to a year. Like that's really more leaning towards, I could actually see this person going the distance with me long term. So now I'll bring her into the family. But you suggesting that she tried to get to know you and then put on a show for your friends also during the dating phase. That is not fair to her, and it's going to make her feel more pressure. So she was right in probably rejecting those offers. Anyway, he says, I asked her how she was feeling about me. Guys, don't ever do this either. Like, you need to be in this dating phase as confident as possible so that way you can show off to her that you're a confident guy. You asking her questions like, well, is everything going okay? And how do you feel about me? And blah, blah, blah. That reeks of a guy that is not confident, and that turns women off. Even women that are interested. Because here's the thing. There are women out there that you've dated that would actually have committed to you had you not been showing this kind of behavior at some point during the dating process. So if you're good with like a woman on like the first month, and then by like a month and a half in, you start getting those flaky texts, or you start getting those flaky dates, or those conversations like, well, I don't really know what I feel, blah, blah, blah. What that means is that you're showing behavior that's causing her feelings for you to now regress. And so if you know what those behaviors are, you will not do them anymore. Anyway, he said, I asked her how she was feeling about me, and she said she really likes me, she enjoys spending time with me, and that there's a lot about me that would make me a great partner for her, but there's something that's preventing her from going fully in, but that she would like to continue seeing where things go. Well, why is this happening? Well, because of the behavior that I just talked about previously, and this is month 2. It takes a woman 2 to 3 months to solidify her feelings if she's not being interrupted by you coming in trying to rush the process. Every time you come in and try to rush the process for her, it's going to result in her feelings taking a step back and her attraction level taking a step back until it has to be built up again. So even though they're at the 2-month mark, you figure about 3 weeks in, he's asking, can we be exclusive? And then he's trying to talk about how you feel about me, and he's probably telling his feelings about her to her. Like, all that stuff is resulting in her now having to regress back because it's feeling less and less like her choice every time he brings this stuff up. So then he says a couple of incidents have come up where it was noticeable that something was kind of missing on her end, and I told her about them. Big mistake. Some of these things being not meeting my friends, which she shouldn't after only 2 months in, or that when we're apart, I never feel like she misses me, like there's a lack of affection despite talking to me every day. She'll tell me when we're together that she missed me and thinks about me when we're apart, and I asked her why she doesn't tell me these things then. So what is he doing now? He's now fully telling her, I have low self-esteem issues, and I need my partner to tell me all the times that they're feeling things or every single time that they're thinking about me. But she just told him, hey, when I'm not around you, I'm thinking about you, I'm missing you. What she's not verbalizing, because she isn't aware of that, is that that's the time when she's actually building up interest. Like the time when she's wondering, oh my God, I haven't heard from him today, or I'm really thinking about this date we had, I want to feel that again. And that's when she's building up interest. So when they meet up, and then he's like, but you don't tell me this and that. Now, all that work that happened when he wasn't there goes away, because now it's like, geez, I mean, I'm telling this dude I missed him and that I was thinking about him, and he's just like, but I gotta do more to prove that. I gotta like still text him when I miss him, this and that. Like, is this not enough for him? It speaks of a guy that no matter what she tries to do to tell him her affections or to do things, that it's just not gonna be enough. He's gonna need constant reassurance. And I got news for you. Women don't wanna act like your mommy and reassure you all the time about their feelings. She's telling you, hey, if I'm not there, I'm still thinking about you. So for you to be like, but you need to call me and tell me that and text me and blah, 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 that's going to turn this woman off. And she, again, she's a woman that would probably actually want to end up in a relationship with you, but you keep bringing in obstacle after obstacle, and you telling things, and you're admitting feelings and being needy, and all these things are going to result in this woman's going to want to pull away. So then he says, I asked her why she doesn't tell me these things. It's kind of like that saying, you know, if someone really likes you because you feel it. I haven't felt that yet. She said it's unfair to me because she's not quite at the level I am towards her. So I've mentioned this before about that. If you go to a woman and try to tell her all your feelings before she's made that decision about it on her own, then it's always going to feel like, oh, this guy must be at a different place. And the sad part is because we get to that place a lot faster, it's always going to feel like there's an off balance, because she's thinking he liked me after 2 or 3 weeks and I'm still just like enjoying our dates and trying to get to know him. But he's already made a summary that he likes me, which means now his interest is higher than mine. And since his interest is higher than mine and mine's not there, this isn't fair to him, and therefore we shouldn't be together. This is why you always want to give a woman the feeling that her interest is actually higher than yours is. To women, oftentimes a guy having more interest than her can be a danger to her safety. Like there's so many stories about like, oh, this guy really likes me a lot and I was just kind of okay feeling him, and then he unalived me or he took advantage of my body without my permission. So you're thinking, I'm gonna be the good, nice guy, or you could be feeling insecurities and thinking, if I tell her that I like her, she's gonna tell me that back and then I'll have security. You have to be more confident, and you have to display that confidence in order for women to start to feel things for you and think that they're feeling it of their own accord versus it being pushed on them. Anyway, so he says, we talked about ending things, which means he probably said, well, if you don't feel that way, you should. Anyway, we talked about ending things, but we both agreed to continue on because we agreed that we both like each other a lot still, despite me wanting more from her. Well, yeah, you guys both like each other. She has like for you, and she would probably have more like if she wasn't feeling like part of that like for you is because she's feeling forced to because of what you're doing for her, and you're kind of pressuring her to keep liking you, even though she wants to like you by herself. Like, you're not helping her by trying to help her to like you more. You're not helping her by pushing her into, we already like each other, let's just have a commitment. Like, and I get it, there's a level of insecurity and unknowing there that irks guys because we wanna know. We want to know for sure she likes us, she wants only us, she wants to date us, she wants to be in a relationship with us. You have to learn to trust the dating process. If you are showing up in an authentic way and you're consistent, after 2 or 3 months like clockwork, they will come to you and ask for the relationship. I know this because I'm 41, I've been in the dating game long enough, and the relationships that I've been able to get into have mostly resulted from women who, by me being patient, came to me and asked me. The women that I went to after a week or two, hey, so we should already blah, 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 it doesn't work out. It's too much. Women start to second guess themselves, and when you make a woman second guess herself and not trust her judgment, it's gonna make her pull back on feeling things to you even more so. Anyway, so then he says, although she suggested that maybe I should date other people while we continue dating, and that she has no interest in dating others if we did that. Because she likes you, guy. She likes you. It's just you're moving at a pace and pushing her at a pace that is not allowing her to trust her judgment. So you have to give her that time by not asking her for the relationship. When you don't ask for the relationship, what'll happen is after 2 or 3 months, women start to think, wow, things are going so great. Why doesn't he want me in a relationship? Oh my God, is it something about me? Could he be seeing other women? Maybe I'm not as hot of crap as I thought I was. Like, it brings in their self-doubt to where the only way they can remedy that is to ask you for the relationship. And of the two sexes, sorry to say, women can get away with being anxious and not knowing and being nervous better than guys can, because they're looking for us for our strength and our masculinity and our confidence. We're looking for them to be helpmates and to be the person who's gonna stand by our side. None of those things are affected if she's anxious. So this is why you can't be that guy. Continuing, he says, I told her I was uncomfortable with that because we agreed to exclusivity, and my feelings are for her and her alone. Oh boy. I asked her why she said that because in my head, I wanted to know if she wanted to date other people. She said that it was because she felt guilty that she's not ready to provide things that I want from her because you're rushing her, and that a small part of her wants to see how she would react when I do start dating someone else. She also said she would not and does not want to date other people as she likes me. Well, this goes back to what Doc Laval said about kitty cats competing. The fact is that when women know that their guy has other women that are interested, it turns them on and it makes them think, wow, these other women are giving him validation, therefore he must be a great guy and now I want him. What's happening now is you're seemingly showing her that you have no other prospects. And you would think on some level women would be like, oh, he has no other prospects, therefore I win. He only wants me, and I seem to be the only one that wants him, so I win. But unfortunately, in a woman's mind, it doesn't work like that. If no other women want you, subconsciously, they think there must be something wrong with you because you basically got rejected by all womankind, or you're displaying that nobody else in womankind wants you. And so that does not make a woman want you more. It makes her want you less, and it makes her less attractive. Whereas knowing that I've been with women where like, I'll be walking in the crowd with them and they'll just point out, oh, this girl over here, like she was really like looking at you all kind of hot and sexy. She wants to see that. She doesn't want me to necessarily act on that, but she wants validation from other women that I am still an attractive catch. All right. So when you do things like this, you're saying to her, no, the women want me. You're it. Like I'm asking you. I'm not even looking out there because nobody else is gonna want me anyway. This does not work in your favor as much as you think it does. Anyway, he says, we talked about how in person it really feels like we're in a relationship. Stop bringing up feeling like in a relationship. She questioned out loud if we should just say it, and then we both vocally called each other boyfriend, girlfriend, and I could tell that the feeling didn't sit right with her because in this situation, she felt like she was being forced to say it versus actually feeling like saying it because you're not there yet, because you're not allowing her to get there on her own. She said saying it out loud made her realize how serious the meaning of it was, and she knows she's not ready for that. Well, no duh. I know she values her independence. That's not what it's about. It's not about valuing independence. It's about the fact that you're rushing her to feel things for you or to commit to things that she hasn't been able to get there yet on her own, and therefore it's feeling forced, and therefore she feels off. Because I got a news for you. Independent women also want to date men, and they want to date men that make them feel that it's their decision to date them. Whether they're independent, quote unquote, boss babe women or women that are like overly submissive, both of these sets of women across the board still want to feel like it is their choice, that they're coming to the decision that you are the best thing for them. And you trying to force it on them makes them feel less of that. Anyway, he says, I know she values her independence and that having a label to her would make her feel like she has to give that up. But women want to give that up. Women want to give up their independent label to a guy that they can trust, that they can willingly submit to, listen to, follow their lead, all that stuff. Women want that. Women are the most depressed these days because they don't have men in their lives that they can trust to do that for them in a relationship capacity. But when you rush things, it still will make them say, but you're not the guy because you're forcing things now. I can only imagine what you're going to force me to want to feel or do or commit to later that I'm not going to want to do. He says, but honestly, for me, it's not like I want our whole dynamic to change. I mean, yeah, I want things to progress, but to me, being boyfriend, girlfriend isn't that big of a deal as I feel like she's making it. But you're the one making it a big deal. You're the one that after 2 or 3 weeks is already asking to be exclusive, which means you're trying to push the agenda of a relationship, which means that the two of you, yeah, you're the one that's making a big deal. As proof of that, with the fact that she's not in a relationship with you, you're making it a big deal that she's not. She's trying to say, I need some more time. And you're like, but we should already be. That makes you the one that's making this a big deal. And when you, the guy, make getting into a relationship a big deal, women don't trust that. Women feel forced and women head for the hills. He says, she told me if I'm okay with it to just continue to see if things develop naturally. Exactly. She wants to naturally get to a point where she feels all the things and she realizes you are the guy that she sees herself with for the rest of her life or however long it's going to be. But when you force it, again, it's an interruption in her system. It's like, oh crap, you go from like, she's at say 75% interest, and then you bring up, let's be in a relationship. It gets knocked back down to 60. So now you got to build back up again because you want to get her like 80, 85%, at which point she'll come to you. But every time you interrupt the process, you get knocked back down and she starts over. So at 2.5 months, she should be coming to you. But because you came to her early, it knocks it back now to where she has, basically every time you ask her, it's like you're starting over at like week 2 instead of 2.5 months. So now at the 2.5 month mark, you're basically back at week 2. You got to wait 3 more months now for her to want to come to you because you need to give her that expansive time where she feels like it is her choice of coming to you instead of the other way around. Let's see. He says, I'm still willing to see if things develop naturally. A part of me feels a bit hurt/anxious. Well, you gotta get over that. You gotta get over being anxious. But I get it. Especially if you're a younger guy, you're not used to this idea of like trusting the process. And I think this guy says she's in her mid-30s, so he's gotta be at least in his mid-30s also. But the point is this, is that if you're feeling anxious or hurt, trust me, you're projecting that out and she can feel it and it's making her even more untrusting of her decision to be with you. So as you get to start trusting the process more, and also understand this, is that you got to get into your head the idea of abundance. If this woman doesn't work out, It's not the worst thing in the world. There are other women out there, and you always need to have this thought of abundance. If this doesn't work, there are others out there, but you hope this works. But in the meantime, you're going to be patient as heck while you get to examine her and learn her, and as she gets to learn you. If you don't do that, you're going to always be anxious, always questioning, always needing validation versus just trusting that things are going great. And you're going to constantly chase away women, even the ones that would have worked out. He says, but at the same time, I do realize it's only been 2 months, and I think there's something worth exploring here. We have a lot in common, similar personalities that mesh, see each other twice a week on average. She stays over. Our sex life is really good. We've had our fair share of intimacy and vulnerability. Our communication and openness is really great. So all these things he's saying is actually great. These are things that should be happening. So the problem is, though, he's seeing and feeling all these things and saying, I'm feeling all these great things. I got to commit. Dudes, here's the secret, right? And I said this before, as long as you ask her out for dates and she says yes, she's giving you regular hookups. You're seeing her once or twice a week. She's heaping compliments and praises on you. She's giving you good hookups. She's maybe cooking for you. She's doing all these things and she's consistently doing them. You are good. I think men are in this place where like they need to verbally hear that a woman likes them to really solidify for them that she actually likes them. Guy, if she's consistent in her actions with you, that means she likes you. Get over the idea that women are going to be verbalizing, that you need to verbalize to women that you're feeling these things and that they need to verbalize to you for confirmation. As a guy, you have to walk in the pathway that every movement that you do, you're confident is going to work out. And I get it. Guys don't like to be blindsided. We don't want to think, well, it's been 2 or 3 months and she's not committing yet, so what's this going to be? Guy, the worst thing that happens at the end of 3 months, if she doesn't want to commit, is you had 2 or 3 months of great hooking up, great times together, some good food, and some memories that'll last you forever until you get with the next girl. You don't lose out for not asking her out right away, but you do lose out when you're rushing the process. Anyway, he says, I see a lot of good stuff for a good foundation for a relationship. I have no indication to think we're taking steps backwards or that she wants to move on. She doesn't. And it's the thing. A lot of guys think if a woman says, hey, slow down, or I'm not there yet, that she's trying to reject him. But women are literally telling you, I want to be with you. I'm having a good time with you. I like the bond that we've had so far. I just need more time. A woman needing more time does not equate to I'm losing interest. But when you're constantly bringing things up that are trying to push into a commitment, then yeah, she's going to remain at best stagnant or start to creep back a little bit because you're overwhelming. When women start to feel overwhelmed, they start getting that ick feeling. You don't want to give women the ick feeling because that's going to really make her interest in you start to drop repeatedly and rapidly, you know? He says, a part of me is worried that if she doesn't feel ready by now, will she ever? Yes. If you had left her alone about asking about a relationship for the first 2 or 3 months, you'd probably be in a relationship right now. The problem is you're not doing that, and therefore it's going to push it further and further. So you could easily date this girl for like 8 months and she never commit because every time it gets close to like 2 months, so are we relationship? Boom, add on 2 more months. Get to the end of that 2 months, hey, so we're in a relationship yet? And then you're gonna wonder, she just dated me but never got to a relationship, she played me. No, what happened is you kept pushing her agenda back by way of you trying to bring up the whole relationship thing. But when you don't bring it up, magically, they want to bring it up. It's amazing how that works. He says, I've had friends that say I'm heading towards a situationship and no one even said that I'm already in one. Well, the reality is you're not in a situationship. You're dating her with the prospect of eventually getting in a relationship, but things you keep doing cause you to be stuck in limbo. But it doesn't look like she's looking for a situationship either. He says, I know a lot of people will say, if it's not a hell yes, then it's a no. But I also knew from early on she wanted to take things slow. And yet, even if she said that, you still tried to rush the process. She said, let's take things slow. You try to rush her 2 or 3 weeks in. She said, let's take things slow. You try to then tell her about your feelings and nothing you're doing is respecting the thing that she said, which is take things slow. And the reason she told you that is because previous guys she dated also tried to rush the process and they lost out and she lost out because they couldn't just be patient and wait for her to come to them. So this goes back to, she's doing the normal dating process that women do, taking 2 to 3 months to have a good time with the guy, and then at the 3rd month being like, hey, we keep having good times. We keep having good sex. Why aren't we in a relationship? I need to ask him. That is the normal process that women go through. And men are trying to circumvent that and cut it by 2 months because they want to rush in. That is why she is in the situation she's in, and that's why her taking it slow, it's not a bad thing. She's trying to say, I need to take it slower than you. Most guys rush after 2 or 3 weeks, like you did. She needs more time. More time could be 2, 3, maybe even 4 months. But if you don't bug her, then she will eventually get to that point. That's all I'm saying. He says, and I could have done many more on my end to respect that because I know she's taking steps on her end to get to my level. Yeah, you need to be a lot more respectful by slowing this thing way down and not rushing her with your verbal sayings of emotions, feelings, and commitment. He says, I'm thinking about giving this to the 3 to 4 month mark as reading other threads. A lot of people say you should know where you stand by that point, but I'm curious what other people's thoughts are on this. Should I keep going or are there red flags? The only red flags I see are coming from you rushing this process. So again, I'll say this one more time because it's very, very important. I need you to get this in your head. Women take 2 to 3 months to solidify their feelings. Around a 3 or 4 month mark, assuming that those 2 to 3 months are uninterrupted with you coming to her to ask for a relationship, they cannot help themselves. I have found, and once I got this concept, I found most women at the 2 month to 2.5 month mark were coming to me. So are you still seeing other people? So are you still on dating apps? So, I'm not dating apps anymore. So I just want to know, what are we? Because my friends started to ask, blah, 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 blah. They're coming to me because I'm just dating them I'm almost aloof. I'm almost acting aloof we have been dating. Oh, crap, right. Relationship. Let's talk about it, I guess. But they're bringing it up. And when of the two sexes, you can stand to be a little uncomfortable because she has more dangers to deal with, more threats to her person, her physical harm, or her hookup harm, all these things. And so women are going to take just a little more time. And go back to the hunter-gatherer days. Men were trained to analyze quickly so they can go out to the fields, hunt, kill, shoot the thing, take it home because it was needed for their survival. You needed to be able to make quick assessments in order to feed your family, right? Unfortunately, guys do that with dating. So we think we go out in the dating world, okay, if I have 2 good dates with her and maybe a good hookup, then boom, she's the girl. I already know I'm going to want her. And you cannot project onto women how you date. You can't say, I already knew after 2 or 3 dates that I wanted her, so she should know the same thing. It's never going to work that way. She might have a really high interest in you after 2 or 3 dates, but that still doesn't mean that she's going to say in her head, okay, I have high interest, but I still need to check this guy out. Oh my God, I'm head over the heels in love with him already, but I got to make sure that I'm correct because in the past, when I rushed in too soon, it ended up being the wrong situation. So give women that time. Give them that 2 to 3 months where you're not going to bug them about if this is a relationship or not. And I promise you, it will result in you being able to get into relationships a lot faster with women whose interest in you will also be a lot higher at the point that they come to you to ask for the relationship. But I just wanted to give you guys a solid proof story of what happens when you as the guy try to rush the process. Because here, I don't think we have a girl that's trying to play games or showing any red flags. We have a girl here that is simply liking a guy and wanting this guy to go at a slower pace so she can enjoy the journey of getting to know him before she decides. Versus this guy that's trying to rush it. And you see the pitfalls now of what happens when, as a dude, we try to rush the process for them. So hopefully, guys, this helps you out. If you need help with the situation you're going through, go to the website, introvertdatingsuccess.com, sign up for one-on-one coaching. You can also write to me at HarryWilmington@gmail.com if you want me to answer your question in one of these videos, all right? Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm out. Peace.
You's a bad boy, but you can't stop, won't stop. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-class man. You a high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man.